Hi, I'm Natalie Peconic and this is my YouTube channel, Nat Scraps. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're doing the fifth layout in my Backyard Bliss scrapbooking kit series. You cannot say that fast, guys. I've said it so many times and yet I still can't get it right. This video was a bit of a doozy. I've lost some footage and had to remake some, and it's all a bit over the place. So I hope you will stick with me and enjoy the ride. We're going to kick this off with going through the scraps that I have left over from the first 4 layouts that I've done. So if this is the first time seeing a video in this series, what I've done is I've taken the Backyard Bliss scrapbooking kit and I've just taken it all apart and creating my own layouts, and I'm going to see how many layouts I can get. Spoiler alert, there's 9, and how we can use all the different components. So you see me flicking through here, and what I like to do first thing is just check what I've got left of the papers. I find that I get lots of inspiration when I'm flicking through the papers, and I tend to then jump off from something that I have found. I also have some Picture My Life cards, and I've explained in other videos that I always grab a packet of Picture My Life cards as well as a scrapbook kit, because it really just extends the whole kit way out. What you've just seen is the recording of what I had left of the scraps. I've gone to find the next part of this layout and it's missing. So what I'm going to do is show you the really important things. So we're working on this layout here, and the parts of the video that are missing is the important parts, the stamping around here and putting down these base pieces of paper. Where the video that is still there is when I'm putting this fence on. So I thought, rather than not have a video, I will show you how I did the stamping. I chose to do the stamping straight onto the White Daisy layout, and it was quite simple and easy. What I did was I pretty much just popped my photo mats down where I wanted them. Just work out what configuration. It could be any way that you want. You want a little bit of space in between so you can get the colour in between. That's right on the edge of those paper. This is just computer paper, guys, so that I didn't have to do another sheet of White Daisy. So I'm just going to mark around the outside edge here with my pencil, and that's just going to give me an idea of where I'm trying to aim my marks to. You can rub them out later, or most of the time they just get covered in the ink. So unless you're using a really light ink, it's not going to matter. I've chosen one of the stamps from the Perfectly Imperfect stamp set. Now this has to be one of my most used stamp sets. I use it all the time, and I'm going to use this little paint swash down here today, and I will also use this little pebbly one. The ink pad that I'm using now, that stamp set is retiring in August when we get our new catalogue. And also retiring is the New England Ivy. Now I'm a relatively new maker. I don't have a lot of colours of the ink pads and that, so I just had to choose a green that was complementary to the pine colour that is in the papers. I think it works well. I think the pine might have actually been too dark and too bold for the layout, so I was really happy I actually had this New England one to use. You can use any greens really, it's completely up to you. We're going to ink it now. I am stamping on the back side of my Versamat, so that's got that foam underneath, and it's great that it's 12 by 12 so we don't have to worry about moving a piece of foam around all the time. And all I've basically done is stamped around those marks. I've tried to use, you can sort of see there's one sort of straight side and one more rougher side, so I'm trying to use the outside edge as much as possible, and I'm just going around. Now if you don't get this quite right, it doesn't really matter, because what's going to happen is that anything that's not in the right spot, as long as it's inside your markings, is just going to be covered with your photo mats, so you can't really go wrong. And this is where you'd probably normally worry about whether it's going to be in the right spot, or I think that could be with being a bit higher, so I think I've gone a little bit low there. So I'm just going to come back in, and that's much better. So I pop my mat over here, Yep. So I'm going to be happy with that. Now I need to go in, just fix this corner up over here. So I'll do that. In a couple of the areas you'll notice I've done a little bit of overstamping, like a little bit extra. So that's where you could put some titles or things like that, and just you can just add a couple of extra bits out there, adds a little bit of more dimension, things like that. After I did that, I went in with the mocha and that little dottier one, and I just did first and second generation stamping and moving my stamp around a little bit, and that just gave that little feeling of, you know, being in the garden, a little bit of dirt. You know, when you've been gardening, dirt gets everywhere, in your hair, down your bra, everywhere. And that added just that little bit extra there. So I've done this one. We're going to go back to the pre-recorded now, pick it up when I start to embellish the page. I don't know about you, but all this time travel is making me exhausted. Here we are in the future, which is actually in the past, and we're now going to pop on this little wood veneer die cut section. I'm just making the decision right there, cut that and put it on. That little, what turns into a chicken coop or a garden shed on the left hand side was a scrap that was sitting around. That was inspired by, we had a Craft with Heart event for makers here in Australia, and at the Victorian event let me start again. We got given a pack of things to create with, and I created a layout that was very different to the layout that was given to us as a guide. And I actually created a little garden shed on that layout, and I did a little mini version. That one was quite big that I did that night. I did a little mini version here. So it's been popped back on there. I'm trying to give it a little door and making it not quite so high. I think it could do with a bit better of a roof, so I'm just playing with that now. Going to make a slightly different shaped roof. And with these pieces, I'm then going to grab the blending tool and blend the top and the bottom. Now you'll see here I'm off camera and then I'm on camera. I'm trying to not get the blending foam little bits. Sometimes it flicks little bits off onto my work, and it's something to be quite wary of when you're actually blending, is not to do it over your work, because you do end up with little splatters of brown where you don't want brown, or whatever colour that you are using at the time. So the other side of that wood grain is actually a chicken wire, like a grey with like a whitish chicken wire kind of look on it. I keep calling it chicken wire. It doesn't sound anything like it is, and I thought that looked really good. And I have on my sticker sheet 3 little chickens which are going to join us on the page any second. I've popped a little shovel and spade next to the shed as well, or the chicken coop. Could go either way really, that one. And down there, and they are just so adorable. I am just so in love with those 3 little chickens. I'm finding all the veggies and popping them along the bottom on the ground there. So I think we've got some strawberries, some carrots, parsnip maybe, I'm not sure. This gumboot is going to go on a real journey. It's going to sit there and it's going to go somewhere else, and it gets around. I really enjoyed making this page. There was something quite simplistic about it, but also it just worked. Sometimes when you make something, you just find that it works. I'm magic mounting one of the chickens on, and the other 2 are getting just stuck flat down on. Just gives a little bit of difference there. Now I'm going to try that gumboot down near the shed. Go no, makes the shed look really, really small. Going to put it up here near the title. Nope. Going to move it again. I've decided now that I'm going to put some magic mount on it. or sorry, the company I used to be with calls it Magic Mount. We call it, at Close to My Heart, we do call it foam tape. So I'm just going to pop that one on. If you haven't seen the other videos in the series, there's this is the fifth, and if you don't want to go watch the whole process video, which I can know some of these videos can get really long, there is a video that has all of the 9 layouts just showing to you on what I created. There is also a video of what is in the kit, and the links for those are down below. If you haven't already, think about liking and subscribing to the channel. I'm working hard at producing some great video content for you guys, and I'm hoping that you are enjoying it. I'd love to hear your feedback and hear what you have to say. With these vegetables, the longer ones, I'm actually putting a little bit of the foam tape on one end of them and sticking the other end down so they sort of look like they're coming up and out. And I'm also going to put foam tape on this title. This layout would work really well, I think, for any garden renovations, or if you're just being out in the garden and growing your veggies, which a lot of people have done during ISO. I think it could really work for quite a few things. I have created a cutting guide for the kit that will allow you to create all 9 layouts. If the kit is purchased from my web store, that cutting guide is free, or you can purchase it. You just need to leave me a message in the description below. I'm going to put that little vine of tomatoes there, and then I'm going to struggle to find a little spot for this little label, and I'm going to move it and move it and move it and move it a little bit more, as we do. It says dig in the dirt, and the other one says feed the birds. This is a long strip from the sticker sheet, and it's like a border piece, but I've cut it up already for the, I think I've cut up and used some of it on page 1 or layout 1, and then I'm using some of it here. I do get to layout 9 and wish I had just a smidge of that left. I was just a little bit short on layout 9, but I did make do and I was able to stretch it. There was a little time jump there where you've seen the stamping all of a sudden appear, that I just cut that out. It took a little while of me thinking about where to put the stamping, and I did demonstrate it at the start of the video. And that is that very cute layout all completed. So a little bit of a slow shot here. There will be a few photos, close-ups at the end of this, and then a shot of layout 6. Hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for spending this time with me, guys. Bye.